So I'm at the terrace of the hostel that I'm staying in, and there's the view. So pretty good. I'm thinking of making something. I thought it'll be nice, worthwhile that to record the entire making art or something like that. So perhaps you'll like that. After I woke up, I had coffee. I went had breakfast. I went to the ATM to withdraw cash, which is something that I think if you're coming to Rishikesh, and it's been there forever, it's been the same forever. Carry as much cash as you possibly can, because everywhere online transactions are not really accepted everywhere. It's still a relatively new phenomena. Or ATM generally in Rishikesh often run out of cash or are closed, or something or the other keeps happening. So just keep that in mind. That is the beautiful Lakshman Jhula, by the way. I don't know if you see it, but dikh to raha hai. So that is the Lakshman Jhula. You cross that place, you go that side, you come this side. These are all hostels over here. All of them are hostels, youth hostels, so a lot of young crowds generally. And I'm gonna make some art, and maybe you guys would like that. So yeah. So I'll just keep adding details after details. I'll color the entire mountains grey, maybe. Maybe I'll chalk the idea altogether. I don't know. You get an idea of this three-dimensional sort of figure. When it comes forward, it has more detail compared to what's back. More impressionist, of course. These are the other things that I made. This is water, and this is just the art file that I've used for this week. And this is, of course, the same. I mean, a closer location, but at night. I don't know if you can see it. Right, that's a wolf, coyote, a trickster. I fucked up the eye, but you get the idea. That's a trippy one. That's a werewolf. That is a plant that is very famous these days in the media. That's a wolf. You can follow it all. If you follow me on Instagram, you can follow most of my artworks that I've been experimenting with. Abhi, this is an idea. I might chalk it out altogether. I might create something out of it, but it's a long process. Generally around 20 minutes to an hour. But something like a landscape takes substantially longer. There's another thing that I really want to talk about. Let me take you back a little. A little while. Before I was turning 30, I was extremely afraid of turning 30. I was extremely afraid of this numerical value on my mortality. And I dreaded it. And last year was, of course, this entire year for all of us has been a travesty. I've seen loved ones die. I have seen loved ones part. I have seen friends come and go. I've seen businesses fall. I'm talking about my own experiences. I've seen businesses dwindling. But in all that chaos, turning 30 was perhaps one of the things I feared the most. So when I did turn 30, about a week after I turned 30, I mean, it's only recent. It's still the same month. I mean, no, not anymore. It's November now. But October just went by. So I think on the 18th of October, I had something that you would only perhaps call, the closest word that comes to it is a eureka moment. Like I was in a relatively sort of a darker place in my head, and I slept on the 17th. When I woke up on the 18th, I was born anew. I feel anew. And being at home for so many months, I think that might have been another reason for it, because I've never been homeward bound. Not like that, at least. I'm homeward bound, as in I love my home and I love going back to it. But no, I really like to go out. Perhaps it was being cooped up and going through all of this uh, turmoil that really, I don't know, it turned a switch, I think, in my head when I was at my darkest spot, I think. Um, so I turned, on the 18th, I woke up and all of a sudden I wanted to draw again and I wanted to create music again. I had this creative overflow that I haven't really tapped into. It's a very specific, it's a very strange state of mind. It's like um, it is in some ways maybe a psychedelic state of mind, because um, psychedelics can be extremely potent in creativity. It makes you see the world in terms of values. By that I mean the values of color, dark green, red green, green, light green, falana green, dhikana green. Makes you see all these values very vividly. So the colors have been maybe it's the meditations that I was doing for some time, and I finally had a breakthrough. But it was a eureka moment. So since then I picked up my drawing file again after almost a decade, because I hadn't made anything since after school. Maybe I made something after school for a little while, but since I started doing corporate jobs and all of that, I hadn't made anything art specifically. And also for the past 3-4 years I wasn't really playing the guitar as well. So all of a sudden this creative overflow that I had, perhaps it's a way of coping with all the chaos around. I actually really enjoy chaos. I think I am chaos. I'm not order, and I don't think nature is order, and I don't think you should replicate an artificially created means of control order. I like chaos. I revel in it. I enjoy it. Everything happening all the time at once. It sort of makes you feel alive. I think order is one of the short ways of numbing your mind to absolute uh, to absolute numbness in a way. It makes you numb. I think following a particular routine in life makes you numb to any external experiences or internal experiences. So that's what I thought, this very strange eureka moment that I had, and I really wanted to tap into it. Now everything, the philosophical, the books I've read 4 or 5 books in the past, since the 18th, so barely 2 or 3 weeks. So in this flow of overproductive ecstasy, like a few days ago I was watching the sunset near my house. I hadn't seen the sunset in a very long time, and I looked at it, and as it descended, the hues of strawberry and berries and this pink and orange and yellow, I couldn't help but weep at the beauty of it. I mean, it was so beautiful. I hadn't seen the sunset in so long, and I wept at the beauty of it, like tears of joy, marveling at the fact that I'm still here right now. So yeah, it's a profoundly heightened state of mind, and I don't know how reflective the language is of it, but I guess it is. I've written a lot. Such is the productive nature that I wrote 120 pages since 18th. The entire day is spent in some form of creative pursuit or the other. 2 hours of guitar, or maybe an hour of drawing something and then writing something. So there's a lot in the pipeline, and for some reason this is the only time in my life where I've had the clarity to know how to get it done as well, not just leave it half. Which is ironic, because yesterday I uploaded a half-finished portrait of Rishikesh by night. So yeah, it's been profoundly creative, and there's a certain sense of clarity that I haven't had in a very long time. I know how the means to get things done, things that I've let sit in stagnant water for a very long time. There's also a certain poetic flair that I've noticed, and I was thinking of actually writing something today, a poem or something, I don't know. But for so long did I suppress the creative pursuits of my life. So long did I do corporate jobs. So long I, tried to run after some sort of monetary accomplishment. But it's all so clear to me now, all of a sudden, that when people say that follow your passion, they really mean passion as a side option. Where I am thinking now of following my passion as my main option and keeping jobs on the side again. So I'm profoundly happy. I'm very happy. I hope it's reflective and you get some insight into whatever this strange state of mind that I've been in. So yeah, I'll upload a little bit in a while. There's a sunset that is going to happen over here as well. I don't know from here if you can see it, but yeah, the camera is a little too bright. But you get the idea. It's time of the sunset. So I'm going to enjoy watching the sunset. I'll perhaps go down and sit by the ghats and watch the sunset. So yeah, take care. Bye bye. Alright, so after the sunset, loitered around for a little while. Um, didn't vlog. I think the last time I was so thorough with the places in Rishikesh to visit. I don't see the need for that this time, and as I said, this one is going to be a tremendously, profoundly more personal vlog, one that I haven't done before, but one that really got me the kind of subscriber base that it got me. People who were willing to listen. Anyway, I had this an insight of sort, but I'm seriously considering that by the end of this year or maybe the beginning of next year as a New Year's resolution, even though that's irrelevant, you can make a resolution anytime. But I'm honestly considering becoming a vegetarian for a while, and I've had on and off, a few months of being a vegetarian and then moving back to somewhat eggs, something else, 1 or 2 times. I haven't eaten red meat since I was 12 after I saw a goat being slaughtered. So that really impacted me tremendously. And I haven't eaten red meat ever since. And with age, I've reduced my intake to a point where I go for months without eating any. But when you come to Rishikesh and you see the kind of variety of vegetarian options that you have available, vegan, vegetarian, whatever you want to call it, you can't help but think that at least the taste argument, कि मीट खा के और वो घास फूस खा के, that taste argument is pretty bullshit, really. Vegetarian food can be extremely delicious, and you don't have to rely on meat only as a substitute for satiating underdeveloped taste buds. Of course, that's very condescending, but you get my point that I'm honestly considering becoming a vegetarian. It's also very light on you overall, a very light experience of eating, assimilating vegetarian food. So yeah, that was the insight that I had while I was on my dinner. I had hummus and falafel, and it was as delicious as anything that I've ever eaten before. With the kind of price tag that I've already spoken about earlier, you wouldn't get something as delicious and with the quantity anywhere in Delhi. So that's that. Beautiful little night here in Rishikesh. A little chilly now, so I'll perhaps get out my shawl or something and wear that and go to the terrace where people are partying, observe them for a little while, watch the people, study them, and then come back and have an insight about something or the other. So yeah, Yashashvi is busy drawing something.
I just completed it.
So very nice. क्या है दिखा भाई लोगों को क्या बनाया तुमने?
देख लो यार.
Very nice. Very nice. Structural, huh? Very Lovecraftian. So
Everything is Lovecraftian these days, isn't it?
the world is Lovecraftian these days, waiting for some cosmic entity to come and finally reveal some great
So
truth.
please don't.
No, to reveal some great truth. I think a lot of Lovecraftian things are metaphors for knowing things that are
Something
so
yet to come, to be honest.
not.
Something like that.
I mean, I don't know, but I definitely think that it's a metaphor for not delving sometimes too deep into things because they can make you mad. That's the preface of every
Exactly,
Lovecraftian
yeah.
novel.
It is very vast. That's why
To-
they said there are things which are uncomprehendable by human.
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. And to merely witness them sometimes, to even understand
Yeah,
a concept
exactly.
can drive you down a rabbit
There
hole
is
that can.
also, I forgot its name. There is an entity, Lovecraftian entity, is said the mere sight of that aspect, that entity could like melt you away and make you a leathery piece of mass.
Yeah, I
Going
mean,
like that.
what people don't realize about spirituality and spiritual awakening and Kundalini and Falana Dikana is that if you're not ready for these strange experiences, or if you're not ready for these profound insights, if not the experiences alone, even these insights of such grand nature in the human condition are enough to drive you mad to an extent sometimes. Quite often, I think, really, I think the line between madness and the line between
Knowledge.
no, the line between, I'm so sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was talking about the line between madness and the line between creativity is very blurry. It's very blurry. And you need a certain amount of madness to channel creativity. I think madness is the state of mind that is so profoundly abstract that it's the only conduit, the only frame of mind, the only conduit that you can use to bring forth something that's so vague and give life to it. Literally, you're giving life to it when you're creating something. It could be music, it could be art, it could be anything really. You're giving life to it. You're bringing it from the world of the unknown and you're bringing it to the world of the known. It's a lot like, yes, it's a lot like prophets. It's a lot like spiritual teachers. They think and they talk. I think art is more reflective in the sense that it's a thought that is then manifested in the form of creation, any creation,
There
music.
is a reason now, sorry for interrupting, there is a reason why art, sciences and religion correlate with each other.
They do. If one actually sort of seeps into the other, I think the advancement of most
Civilizations.
the advancement of the sciences that in the recent 2 or 3 decades that has been coming out, the new researches that are coming out, the new scientific streams that are coming out, like quantum is really big right now, and somehow it's sort of reaffirming certain spiritual or certain mystical traditions, reinforcing the idea that, well, there might have been a world before this world or before this universe, and this universe is just within a universe, within many universes, one to the other, and it's sort of like quantum as a field of science. I think definitely has done a lot of groundbreaking work in the past 2 decades or so, and a lot of them have been reaffirming the idea of certain spiritual traditions, especially if you look at the yoga concept in Vedic religions. In the Indic religion, the yoga concept is extremely, I mean, it is so in sync with what we understand about the world right now, like how far it goes, how old it is. The biblical or the Abrahamic religions have really limited it to the past 6 to 8,000 years. But the Vedic texts speak about millennia, which I find particularly fascinating because it's very in sync with a lot of scientific understanding that we have of the cosmos, of how the universe works, how we work.
In the Vedas it is mentioned कि sun एक आवाज निकालता है, ये यहाँ पर constellation, yeah, it's very.
It is extremely scientific. I mean, it can be very, very scientific. Of course, I'm not someone who believes that they were flying machines in the early life. Maybe I do believe that also sometimes, but generally I don't. I don't know. We don't know. Architecturally, at the very least, if nothing remains of the old world, I think architecturally, at the very least, it is so intricate. It's made with such groundbreaking detail, and nothing modern we can recreate compares at all to it.
You cannot even imagine.
I lost my train of thought. Anyway, that's what I was saying. So there's this profound link between creativity, madness, and philosophy and mysticism and even religion, for that matter. And I think a little degree of it is tremendously beneficial when you want to channel something that is difficult to understand by introspection alone. Sometimes you just got to let loose. Sometimes you just let go, let the idea float. And if you are, in any art form, you just got to channel it and use it. Just play the guitar, play some instrument, create some art or something like that. But channel it rather than internalize. When you internalize, you will have dialogues, but those dialogues would never be breakthrough. I mean, sometimes they are breakthrough, I wouldn't deny that, but most of the times they can be very muddled. But when you channel it, you create something out of it, as a keepsake. You can keep it forever, and it will give you profound insights on your mind when you create a song or when you make some art. If you really look close enough, your subconscious has all these patterns it's trying to tell you. You scribble it out, and all of these patterns come out, and some of them you can read into, some of them are extremely vague and abstract. But yeah, that's a little rant, that's a little ramble. And by the way, ramble is a funny word, and now I think that it's a name that it's a word that I will stick by, is because random not only means to rant or to speak incoherently or sometimes coherently. Ramble also means to take a leisurely stroll, taking a leisurely stroll in the world. So yeah, ramble on, my friends.